This video is coming by popular demand. Some time ago I did a video on a 2010 Ford Edge where I was helping vets in the community through Vets Helping Vets, Greenville, South Carolina. This vet had an oil leak on the front section of the engine, the valve cover gasket, which is easy to get to, and it was also the seals on the spark plug. So all that was causing a lot of oil onto the exhaust manifolds, contaminating the spark plugs, a lot of issues. Soon after I finished this one, this vet's rear side of the engine, the other side, failed. And that side's a little bit more complex because you have to take the upper intake as well as a lot of other material off of the top of the engine to get to the back valve cover and replace that gasket and the spark plug well gaskets. Removal of the rear valve cover to get to that gasket is quite a bit more complex than the front. You got pretty much free and clear here except for a few things like the PCV, some electrical lines, cam sensors, etc. But to get to the back, you're gonna have to start off by removing this air intake system that gets you to the throttle body. You don't need to take that off. You're gonna have to remove vacuum lines. There's several vacuum lines here. Electrical connection, evap connection needs to be removed. You've got another electrical connection here and another vacuum hose in the back. At that point, once you get all this stuff out of the way, pulling these hoses and everything out of the way, you're gonna have to remove all these screws, and this upper intake is gonna have to come straight out, up and out. And that gives you complete and free access to the back. At that point, you're gonna have to pull all the screws out to get this valve cover off. Don't forget that you're gonna have to take off these electrical connections here for the cam sensors, cam position sensors, and that should be about it. Now you can see the fasteners here that are holding that cam cover down, and it's going to be quite a bit of fun to get that pulled out. Now when you do get the upper intake off, you want to make sure you cover this entire area here with a piece of cardboard so nothing drops inside the engine and makes for a really bad day, because you're probably at that point, if it went down into the cylinder, going to have to pull the head off to get to it. So I've got all the bolts removed, all the hoses and electrical connections. Turns out, let's see if I can show it in the video. Right there, you can see that bolt, right? Well, that's the only bolt in the view. So that's the bolt that is tied to a bracket or connected to a bracket. That's the last thing needed to be removed to get this intake out. Sorry, I can't get that in more focus, but it's in the back behind the throttle body. Should be easy enough to get to with an extension on a 1/4-inch ratchet. So intake has been removed. These top bolts do come out. You can take them out, but the bottom ones don't try. They're actually held in place. So Abe's agreeing with me. To remove the valve cover, first remove the remaining electrical connections at the cam sensors and the spark plug coils by removing the locking clips and then the connector. The spark plug well gaskets were leaking enough to cover the coils with oil, which impacts spark ignition. Now remove the cam cover bolts and lift the cover. I then pulled the spark plugs, which shows significant oil contamination, and I let the oil drip into the cylinder to be burned off once the engine is restarted after the repair is complete. Here you can see the deteriorated condition of the spark plug well gaskets as compared to the new gaskets. You'll need a press or other suitable device to install the new gaskets. Before installing the cam cover, thoroughly clean the gasket sealing areas on the cam cover and the engine using a small amount of solvent on a clean lint-free rag and a plastic razor. Use a product like Permatex Ultra Black RTV to seal the mating surface where the timing chain cover meets the block. The products I use are shown in the description, as well as the gasket set needed for this repair. When installing the cam cover, it's important to follow a specific torque sequence. I could not find a suitable source for the exact information online, but after years of doing these, I did the following. I initially installed all the cam cover bolts finger tight. Finally, I used a torque wrench to apply 89 inch-pounds of torque to each cam cover bolt starting from the middle, then alternating back and forth to the ends of the cam cover. This spreads the load evenly on the gasket, preventing leaks, but do not over-tighten. This could cause leaks and at worst, snap a bolt. Reassembly is simply the reverse of disassembly as shown in the beginning of this video. Be cautious when installing the upper intake to ensure the gasket surface is free of dirt and debris, and the gasket is properly located on the gasket surfaces. Here's some bonus material before you leave my video. When performing work on your vehicle, always take a few extra moments to perform an inspection to be sure everything is in order. I happened to find a broken ground strap that should have grounded the body to the engine. Grounds like this are needed to prevent problems with electrical devices such as your stereo. If your stereo has static, it could be a ground problem, and in fact, this Ford Edge had stereo static. I simply added a lug to this and reattached to ground. Don't forget to comment and like, and until next time, thanks for watching Driving Intelligence.